Ladies and gentlemen, we're taught our whole lives to help people. It's a virtue. It's noble. It's what good people do. But here's the hard truth. Nobody tells you. Helping the wrong person can drain your time, your energy, and your soul. Some people don't want a hand up. They just want a hand out. Today, I'm going to tell you about 8 types of people you should not help. Because if you do, you're not helping them. You're enabling them. You know, the first type of person you should never help, the perpetual victim. This is the person who lives in a constant loop of poor me. No matter what happens, no matter how much you give, there's always another reason they can't get ahead, and it's never their fault. Life is always unfair to them. People are always against them. The system is always broken, and somehow they just happen to be the unlucky one every single time. Now, let me be clear. I'm not talking about someone who's going through a rough season. Everyone has tough times. I'm talking about the person who has made struggle their identity. If you listen closely, you'll hear the same script every time you talk to them. It's just the details that change. This week, it's the boss. Last week, it was the landlord. Before that, it was their friend who betrayed them. There's always a villain in their story, and they are always the helpless hero who's been wronged. Here's the trap. When you step in to help them, you think you're fixing the problem. You're not. You're just taking on a role in their next chapter. And in that chapter, you're either the savior who rescued them temporarily, or eventually you become the next villain. When you stop giving, because with perpetual victims, the help is never enough. They'll thank you today and blame you tomorrow. And it's sneaky because at first they might sound humble, grateful, even vulnerable. They'll say things like, I just need a little help to get back on my feet. But the truth is, they've been getting back on their feet for years, and their legs work just fine. They've just learned that other people's compassion can be a renewable resource if they keep playing the part. The real problem isn't just that you're draining your time and energy, it's that you're keeping them stuck. Every time you swoop in to save them, you confirm the belief that their problems are out of their control. You reinforce the idea that the solution always has to come from someone else. And when someone believes they're powerless, they have no reason to change. Why would they? Powerlessness is a great excuse to never try. I've seen people go broke, lose relationships, and even damage their health trying to be there for someone like this. And the irony is, the person they were trying to help didn't actually get better. They just learned how far they could push before someone said no. If you want to test whether someone is a perpetual victim, give them something better than money or time. Give them responsibility. Give them a small step they can take to solve their own problem. A phone call to make, a form to fill out, a habit to start. If they're serious, they'll do it. If they're a victim, they'll find a reason why that step is impossible. And if every solution you offer is met with, yeah, but then you've got your answer. Now here's the hard part. You're going to feel guilty walking away. Everything in you is going to scream, but what if this time is different? That's the hook. That's how they keep you coming back. But the truth is, the most loving thing you can do for a perpetual victim is stop feeding the sickle. Because until they feel the weight of their own choices, they will never choose differently. There's a difference between helping and enabling. Helping empowers someone to stand on their own. Enabling lets them lean on you so they never have to. And when you finally step back, when you stop fixing every problem for them, 2 things will happen. They'll either rise up and take responsibility, or they'll find someone else to lean on. Either way, you've stopped the drain on your own life. And that's not selfish, that's healthy. So before you step in to rescue someone, ask yourself, are they stuck in a situation, or are they stuck in a story they've been telling for years? Because if it's the story, no amount of your help will change the ending. The second type of person you should never help is the energy vampire. And I don't mean the kind that shows up in a Halloween costume with fake fangs. I mean the kind that shows up in your life and drains you until there's nothing left. You know them. The moment you see their name pop up on your phone, your shoulders tense. You're already tired and you haven't even answered yet. An energy vampire can look like a friend, a family member, a coworker. They're not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes they're quietly exhausting. The common thread is this. Every interaction costs you more than it gives back. You could have just had the best day. And 5 minutes with them will pull you down into their storm. Here's how they work. They don't come to conversations to connect. They come to feed. Every problem they have is a fresh topic for you to carry. Every story they tell pulls you into their drama. Every time you offer encouragement, they twist it into another reason why things will never work out for them. And you leave the conversation feeling like you just ran a marathon uphill in the rain while carrying their baggage. The tricky part is, at first, it feels like you're just being a good listener. You tell yourself, they're going through a lot, I should be there for them. And that's fine once in a while. But energy vampires aren't once in a while. They're a lifestyle. They live in a constant state of needing to offload their negativity somewhere. And they've picked you as the drop-off point. You might try to help them solve their problems, but that's not what they want. Solutions actually end the conversation. They're not after closure. They're after a fix of your attention, your emotional energy, and sometimes your sympathy. And when you run out, they'll find a way to make you feel guilty for not giving more. It's not that you don't care about them. You do. That's why you've been pouring into them for so long. But here's the truth. If you're constantly drained after interacting with someone, it's not sustainable. You can't give your best to your work, your family, your own goals. If someone is siphoning off your energy before you even get there, think of your energy like a battery. Every person you interact with either charges you, drains you, or leaves you about the same. If someone is consistently draining you and never charging you back, eventually you're going to hit empty. And when that happens, you're no good to anyone, not even yourself. So what do? You set limits. And yes, they're going to notice. They might even push back. Energy vampires aren't used to boundaries. They're used to an open buffet. When you start saying, I can't talk right now, or I have to go, you're breaking the pattern. They might guilt trip you. They might accuse you of not caring. But here's the thing. Real friends, real loved ones care about your well-being too. If someone can only value you for the energy you give them, they're not valuing you at all. Sometimes the best way to protect your energy is to limit access. That doesn't mean you cut them off entirely, though in some cases you might have to. It means you stop giving them more than you can afford to lose. You keep conversations short. You avoid topics that pull you into their emotional quicksand. You don't answer every call. You create space for yourself to breathe, to recover, to live. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. You have a limited supply every day, and you have to decide who gets it. If you spend it all on people who never fill you back up, you'll find yourself running on fumes in the areas of life that actually matter. So the next time you walk away from someone feeling completely drained, pay attention. That feeling is your warning light. And if you ignore it long enough, you won't just lose your energy, you'll lose yourself. The third type of person you should never help is the advice ignorer. You know, the one they come to you with the same problem over and over again. And every time you give them your best advice, they nod. They smile. They say, that's a great idea. And then they do absolutely nothing with it. Or worse, they do the exact opposite. These people don't actually want solutions. They want a sounding board. They want someone to listen to their frustrations so they can feel like they're doing something about it without ever having to change. And it's easy to fall into the trap because at first it feels like you're making a difference. You think, if I just explain it the right way, this time they'll get it. But here's the truth. If they want it to act, they already would. The advice ignoring problems, they'll bring you an issue. You'll walk them through a plan, and 2 weeks later, they're back with the exact same issue. Just wrapped in slightly different words. It's like watching reruns of a show where nothing ever changes. The characters are the same. The plot is the same, and the ending is always predictable. And here's where it gets frustrating. They will often agree with you in the moment. They'll make you feel heard. They'll promise to take the steps you suggested. They might even ask you to check in with them. But when you follow up, nothing's been done. There's always a reason. I got busy. I wasn't the right time. Something came up. Those aren't reasons. They're excuses. When you keep giving advice to someone who never acts on it, you're not helping them. You're feeding their comfort zone. You're giving them the illusion of progress without requiring any actual effort. And that's dangerous because it lets them believe they can keep living in the same patterns and somehow get different results. It's not just a waste of your time. It's a drain on your patience, your energy, and your hope. Every time they ignore your advice, a little part of you gets more frustrated, more cynical, until eventually you start questioning why you even bother. And that's the real cost. Helping them ends up hurting you. The best way to spot an advice ignorer is to watch for patterns. If someone asks for your input and then follows through, they're teachable. But if they keep coming back with the same issue and no progress, you've got your answer. And when that happens, you have to decide, are you in the business of solving problems? Or are you just a free consulting service for someone who never intends to change? You can still care about them. You can still be kind, but you have to draw the line. And the line is this: I've given you my advice. Until you take action on it, I'm not going to keep repeating myself. It sounds harsh, but it's actually one of the most respectful things you can do, because you're making it clear the responsibility is theirs now, not yours. When you stop giving advice to someone who won't use it, one of two things will happen. They'll either step up and finally take action, or they'll find someone else to listen to the same story. Either way, you've freed yourself from the cycle. Helping someone should feel like planting a seed. There's effort, there's time, but eventually you see growth. If you've been planting seeds in the same soil for years and nothing has grown, it's not your planting that's the problem. It's the soil. The fourth type of person you should never help is the one-way street. This is the person who knows exactly how to take, but somehow never manages to give. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about time, effort, attention, kindness, anything that costs you something. They'll accept it with open arms. But when the roles reverse and you're the one in need, they're suddenly unavailable. You're dealing with a one-way street. When the relationship feels lopsided, you're always the one reaching out, making plans, checking in, remembering important dates. You're always the one showing up when they're going through something, offering your shoulder, your ear, your help. But when you need the same in return, it's crickets. Or worse, they make you feel like you're asking too much. At first, you might not notice. You might tell yourself they're just busy or they're going through a lot. But if it keeps happening over and over again, you start to realize this isn't a busy season. This is just who they are. They're perfectly fine with a relationship where all the giving comes from you. The tricky thing is, they're not always obvious about it. Some people will even pretend to give, but only in ways that are convenient for them. Maybe they'll send a quick text instead of actually showing up. Maybe they'll say, "Let me know if you need anything." But when you finally do, there's always